Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Russian History Virtual Tour Series, dedicated to the 350th anniversary of Peter the Great. My name is Alexander Arefiev. I'm press attaché of the Russian Embassy in South Africa. If we were to put the outcome of Russia's victory over Sweden in the Great Northern War in one sentence, it would probably be that Russia managed to achieve its key objective for the war: regain access to the Baltic Sea lost in the time of troubles of 1598-1613. In accordance with the Peace Treaty of Nystad of 1721, Sweden ceded Ingria, Livonia, Karelia and Estonia to Russia. However, the far-reaching results of the 21-year-long conflict were much more significant for both Russia and Europe as a whole. We remember that during the Grand Embassy to the Western Europe, Russian Tsar failed to find allies for future struggle against the Ottoman Empire. Peter was exasperated to learn Europeans intended to halt the war against the Turks, but came up with a new idea at once. Since he couldn't make it with the Black Sea, he should try to gain a foothold on the Baltic Sea. But if Peter couldn't fight Turkey alone, then there certainly was no way he could go to war against Sweden without allies. Such alliance was a distinct opportunity. Sweden had turned all its neighboring countries like Denmark, Poland, Russia, as well as numerous German duchies against itself through its dominant role in the northeast. In 1699, Peter I of Russia, Augustus II, Elector of Saxony and King of Poland, and Frederick IV of Denmark formed the so-called Northern League. As mentioned above, Russia intended to regain Ingria and Karelia from Sweden. Poland wished to gain access to Livonia and North Estonia. Denmark laid claims to the Sweden-allied Duchy of Holstein-Gottorp. The war kicked off in winter of 1700, with an invasion of Holstein-Gottorp by Denmark and attack of Livonia by Polish-Saxon troops. Upon conclusion of the Constantinople Peace Treaty with the Ottoman Empire in July 1700, Peter I declared war upon Sweden. Charles XII was successful during the initial phase of the war. Siege of Riga by Saxon corps failed, the Swedish fleet deployed a 10,000-strong army near Copenhagen, forcing Denmark out of the Northern League, while Russia's shambolic and ill-equipped army couldn't oppose the Swedes at Narva in November 1700. Having no combat experience and mostly led by Saxon commanders who were not quite so keen to shed their blood for a barbaric country, Peter I's young army, albeit outnumbering enemy on 3-to-1 ratio, was decimated. Peter's trust to foreign officers took its toll on the outcomes of the battle. Foreign mercenary generals surrendered and deserted to enemy en masse. That defeat convinced the entire Europe of Russia's army total inability of successful warfighting. But Peter could draw a lesson from his Narva disaster, and one of the Tsar's key takeaways was limitation of the quantity of foreign officers in combat formations. From that moment on, they could account for not more than 30% of a unit's officer corps. After destroying the army of Peter the Great in the vicinity of Narva in 1700, Charles XII turned all his forces against another member of the Northern League, Augustus II. In summer 1701, the Swedish king invaded Poland with his main army and seized Duchy of Kurland. In July 1702, the Swedes took Warsaw and defeated the Polish-Saxon troops in the Battle of Klishov, near the city of Krakow. In July 1704, Charles XII made the Polish Sejm parliament overthrow Augustus II and enthrone pro-Swedish candidate Stanisław Leszczyński. In 1705, Poland and Sweden formed a new alliance, this time against Russia. Thus, Russia was left without its allies amid the Great Northern War. In taking advantage of the fact that Charles XII was bogged down in Poland, the Russians launched a swift offensive in the Baltics. In 1701-1702, Russia defeated Sweden in the battles of Erstafer and Hammershof, conducted a successful raid in Livonia. In 1702, Russian troops took Noteburg, also known as Schlisselburg. In April 1703, Nienschans, located in the mouth of the Neva River, where later, in May 1703, St. Petersburg was founded. By the end of 1703, almost the entire territory of Ingria ended up under Russian control. At the same time, Russia took Koporia and Yamburg. In 1704, it seized the fortresses of Tartu and Narva. Successful assault of those fortresses was a demonstration of improved skill and equipment of Russian army. After gaining foothold in the Baltics, Peter offered Charles to make peace, yet the Swedish king refused. He was convinced in his army's superiority, and thus in 1707 he started his invasion to Russia, which turned out to be a fatal mistake. And that is all for today. In the next episode we'll continue talking about the Great Northern War. Stay tuned for part 2. My name is Alexander Arefyev, and this was Russian History Virtual Tour Series, dedicated to the 350th anniversary of Peter the Great. Thank you for watching.